Hello, good evening. As usual, Dr. Angela Belopala, your facilitator. We are here once again to continue with our facilitation with GST 104, the use of library. The last time we discussed the types of libraries and library services. Today we are going to be looking at Module 2, Research Techniques. Under Module 2, we'll be looking at types of information sources and literature review, the concept of literature review, databases, and open educational resources. Why are we looking at all this? We have put them together in order to help you to undertake your research, especially when you will be writing your projects. You will need the different sources of information. You will have to put your literature review together, and you will need to use databases, open educational resources, especially in situations where you know you are not able to buy. You know you have limited funds. But with all of this put together, you'll be able to do your research work unhindered. So today we are going to be looking at types of information sources. Basically, we are going to be looking at the 3 types of information sources. Information sources, as you know, the type you will have to choose for yourself depends on the type of information need that you have. The 3 basic types are primary information sources, secondary, tertiary sources of information. As I told you, your information need will actually determine the type of information source that you will be needing. Now, what are the primary types, primary sources of information? What type? These are original materials. When you look at it, they give new information. They share new information. They are not like interpretation of something that you have seen. Hello? Hello? Mr. Oluwatosin, were you the one we corrected the last time to wear his shirts? Hello? Mr. Oluwatosin? No, it's Isaac, Mr. Isaac Damilare. The last time we met, we corrected you to always make sure you wear your shirts. Today again, you are coming.
I'm not the one.
You are coming on without a shirt.
No, I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
Okay, please, this is an online class. Please, I think you should all share it. Tell your colleagues. They should all be properly to appear on an online class. Thank you. So as we were discussing, we were looking at what makes primary sources of information. Why will you classify a source of information as primary instead of secondary or tertiary? Now, a source of information can be classified as primary if that source of information gives you original information. Are we hearing? It gives you new information.
Yes.
It's not like you are interpreting what somebody else has done. Like maybe you are criticizing somebody's work. That is not primary. The primary will give you the exact, you are talking about original information. Then we are talking, what are these original types of information? I'm giving you now types of primary sources of information. Now we have diaries. Some people keep diaries. As things happen, uniquely, they will put it down. You have diaries. You have letters. They will give you original information. You have some print speeches, patents, photographs, newspaper articles, journal articles that give original information, theses and dissertations, survey research, proceedings of meetings, original documents, like your birth certificate, you know it's original. There's no other person, it's not duplicated. So it's original source of information. Record of organizations, government agencies, some email communication, interviews, video recordings, artifacts, works of art. In fact, we have them listed. If you consult your course materials, you will see all these sources of information, primary sources that have already been listed for you. It will be good for you to study them. Know what is under primary source of information. If, for instance, now I ask you, marriage certificate, is it a primary source of information or a secondary source of information? You should be able to tell me that is a primary source of information from what we have listed here. Because there are kind of information that are primary sources. And it depends on what you are doing. If I'm, for instance, carrying out an authentic research, I want to go for journal articles. And I know that journal articles usually carry primary sources of information. Why? Because the researchers have gone to the field, they have uniquely carried out the research and analysis. The result is unique, and I can use it to build up my own research. So that is why it's categorized as primary source. Look at patents now. I produce something, a novelty. Nobody else has ever produced it. It's attributed to my name. You see, it is a primary source of information. Do you understand? They all are grouped under primary source of information. I don't want us to mix it with secondary source of information. Unlike secondary sources of information now, the secondary sources of information are trying to interpret, you understand, or criticize the primary sources of information. Do you understand? So when you see a secondary source of information, you will know, because all they are doing is to take what the primary sources of information have already said, and they are criticizing, evaluating it, or giving a judgmental analysis of it. Do you understand? So they are quite different. Let's look at it now. You can see textbooks. You will see that in most textbooks, it's not as if it's your own original idea. People will just, put down what others have said to do a textbook, maybe from even some journal findings and all that, to put up a textbook. So that is why textbooks are seen as secondary source of information. Biographical works, commentaries, you have criticisms, dictionaries, you understand? They're just giving you meanings. There's no original inputs, histories. All these are what we call secondary sources of information. Then we have what we call tertiary sources of information. I will just tell you that tertiary sources of information, they are just listing. They are just directing you. They are just pointing you to what? They are pointing you to the primary source of information or pointing you to the secondary source of information. That is what tertiary source of information is doing. So we'll look at examples of these tertiary sources of information, like indexes, encyclopedias, directories. These directories will just be listing maybe title, bibliographical records of journals. You understand? Those are pointers. Bibliographies, all of them are all what we call tertiary sources of information. Like as I have told you, they are there listed in your course materials. Study them so that if by peradventure I ask in your exam, what is a dictionary, a primary source of information or a secondary, you will be able to answer. What about directories? Is it a primary or tertiary source of information? And like as I told you, for that one we are done with it. You read up on it. What determines what source of information you need? It depends on what information you are seeking. Is that not so? If I want a definition of something, I want to either go for a dictionary or is that not so? So what information need determines your source of information that you are going to choose. Then, having done like that, we will look at literature review. Why is it important? This literature review is very important. You may say you are starting now, why do I need literature review? But you will need it for your project. And they may give you time, and you may need to review literature. And it's very important that you know what literature review is all about. Now, literature review to me, I see it as a combination of two things. First one is critical analysis of literature. A combination of two things. Do you understand? They are related literature to your work. You have already chosen a research topic, but you have to do a literature review on it. All the literature you are going to be reviewing, they will be related to your work. But it's not just reading them. It is a critical analysis of related literature. Then there is the second aspect of it. It's also a summary of all available literature. So you see, you are summarizing. At the same time, of all available literature, that your choosing topic is all available literature. And apart from being all available literature at your disposal at that time, it is also a critical analysis. So it's not enough to do one and leave off the other. You understand? So it is a combination of both. Then the importance, why do you have to review literature? Why do you have to review literature? Why is literature review important? Now, you know, literature review is important. One, because it does a lot of things. For you as a researcher, most researchers cannot do without literature review. They cannot do without literature review. Why? Because even for that topic you think you have chosen, by the time you read related literature on it, it will help you to even shape that topic. You will discover that, you will say, no, I have not written this topic properly. I have to rewrite it. I have to add something to add. Why? Because you have reviewed literature and you have seen more vivid topics. So that will help you to frame your own topic in a better shape. Apart from that, literature review can also help you to, for the preparation of adequate research plan. By the time you look at it, you know, from plans of others, you can also plan out your own research through what others have done. It can help you in a number of things. In formulating your objectives, when people have done great work on what's your own topic, you are not an island in that your topic. Something has been done, related works have been done. Then you will look at their objectives. Sometimes their objectives can help you to form your objectives. Their methodology they use to carry out their research can also help you to also have a vivid methodology for your own work. So you see that you just cannot do without literature review. It can help you with formulation of your hypothesis. So design of appropriate instruments, even some of them, when you review literature, you know some of them can also put behind or in the appendix, they even put their questionnaires as the instruments, and they can even describe their instrument for you. Reading them, it will help you to design your own instrument. So when you have a research work to do, it's very important that you first of all conduct a literature review. It makes your research work very easy. In fact, once for myself, I've done a thorough research literature review, I don't bother myself again because everything is set. Once your work is set, you know how to get about the background. You have gotten background information. I know my objectives. I know the methodology I want to use. Then the work is almost done. Instruments, I'm already developing my instrument. Through reading other people's literature, you will discover that your research work is almost done for you. So literature review is very important. When you are reviewing literature, you should not be void. That is, let it not be that you don't have things you are thinking about. Like I told you, literature review is critically analyzing related literature. Critically. Do you understand it? And because you are critically analyzing, you will discover that there are some questions that you have to present and ask yourself. For instance, while you are reading, what is known about this subject? While you are reading a literature, ask yourself, or this my topic that I've chosen, what is already known about this topic as you are reading? It will be revealing to you what has already been known. Then other questions, are there any gaps in the knowledge of the subject? When you are reading, conducting the literature review critically, you will discover that some may have gaps. That is, there are some areas that may not have been covered by the literatures you have reviewed. You will be asking, these people didn't think along this line. There is a gap here. Why have they not covered when you start knowing about this type of concept, is coming to you. That is simply because you are analyzing that issue. So you will discover that there are gaps which you may discover. And it's some people that just take up their gaps. And this gap that they take up the table, that is another study on its own. You can also ask yourself, have areas of other study been identified by other researchers? That is, even the gaps that you identify can be used as areas for further study for another researcher. Who are the significant researchers? Because you will want to know who are the personalities in this field, who are the gurus in this field. If you know the gurus, you will go for their textbooks, you will go for their journal articles, because you know they make sense. They are gurus in that field. So you want to know, is there consensus about the topic? Anyway, they make many reasons, many questions. I don't want to read them. What I want you to do is to read up. When you read your course materials, you will see some of the questions you will have in mind. What I'm telling you is that you must not be void of asking questions. As you are undergoing literature review, you must be studying critically, asking questions. Then steps in developing a literature review. There are steps you have to take. Literature review is systematic. You can't jump from step 1 to the last step or just module it up. If you module it up, the literature review will not be coherent. It will not be in a sequence, and it's supposed to be coherent. And so literature, the first thing you do to make it easier for you, once your topic has been chosen, from, like we have said, is a topic, you have a researchable topic, and you're already shaping it through reading of literature. Now, the second thing you have to do, literature identification. Literature identification. How do you identify the literature you need? We have already discussed it under sources of information. Now, you have to identify the kind of literature that you need. You want to know whether they are in the electronic form, whether they are in print form, whether you need more of primary sources of information, or secondary sources of information, or tertiary sources of information. You have to identify your literature. Then again, you have to also know whether you will need to use databases. You want to know whether you will use open educational resources as well. So it is very important. You go to the library, you say, okay, I want to today identify the literature that I want to use. Is that okay? So once you have identified this literature, you move on to the next step. I will just give you just brief, then analyze the literature. Now you have already identified what and what. You have identified the sources you want to consult. You want to go online. You want to go to Google. You know the databases you want to consult. Now, when you have known them, then you have already retrieved this literature. You have to analyze the literature. You have to analyze the literature. Now, in analyzing the literature, you must have your biro and your notebook, because you cannot say you are reading, you are not jotting. You must be jotting. So why you are jotting? So so that you will know certain things to incorporate in your literature review. As I told you, literature review is a serious business. So some of the things you may be looking at, you may define keywords. That is under analyzing the literature. You may define the keywords so that people will not be confused about your keywords. You may select useful statistics. You will evaluate the article. You will by emphasizing on the strengths and the weaknesses of the article. Now you are reading critically. When you are reading that article, you are looking at the strengths. You are looking at also the weaknesses. There may be loopholes in the methodology. There may be some variables that are not under control. Intervening variables that may have caused the results that is getting. You yourself, as you are critically analyzing that literature, you will know that, this person, yes, he carried out this research, but But did you know though that this variable will be intervening? That is why he's getting this result. Why? He has not kept this variable constant. You will be able to be analyzing. So what you are saying is that literature review is critical analysis. Then when you have done that, you go to you now go to synthesizing the literature. You have already done your critical analysis in different formats. Synthesizing the literature, the word synthesis means putting them together. Now you begin to put all the bits and pieces that you have read together. You may put them in subtopics, subunits, broader topic, subtopic. You will now be putting them under subtopic until it forms a flow. Then when you've done that, you now go on to write your literature, the proper writing now. In the proper writing, you must make sure that it's it must be very coherent, and it will flow and make sense at the end of the day. I'm not going to go too much into it because my own is to present it to you and to enlighten you in such a way that will sensitize you to go back to your course materials and read. And if you have issues that are bugging you, you can ask questions. Then I'm going on to databases. Now we are looking at the kind of resources we will be looking at. You know, we have already looked at the primary sources, secondary sources, and tertiary sources. Now some may be in print source, and some may be also in electronic format. Some may be in print source, some may be in electronic format. Now we are looking at databases. Databases are all in electronic format. There are different types of databases depending on your field. Some of you, are in sciences. Some you are in social sciences, in humanity. There are different types of databases in different fields. Now it will pay you to know the databases that are available in your own field of study. I, as person, I can't start listing all of them. But what I did for you to make it easy, I picked very few popular ones for almost every field. So that can help you. You can go to your course material and you will see some very popular databases, and some are interdisciplinary. That means they cut across different disciplines. Some like Gesture, for instance, they cut across so many other disciplines. So all this, you must ensure that you choose a database. Now, if you go to Agricola, for instance, it's a type of database. You are choosing Agricola and you are a philosophy student. You will not get any article that will be relevant to your work. Is that clear? So you must study. I listed them there for you. Study the one that is very important to you, and it's not only your own field now, because for the purpose of exam, I can ask you what type of database can you use if you are in this field. Let me say you are in sciences. I can give you options. You should be able to study them and know them. Is that clear? So I'm going to leave it up to you, and we are going now to open educational resources. These open educational resources are also database. They are also database, but the difference between them and the ones that you subscribe to, they are free. Now, especially if you don't have money, we know that we are all students, and we also know the conditions we have in the economic condition in our country today, that you will need these free educational resources, and that is why we put them together for you, so that you will be able to know. If you say, okay, I don't have money to buy any journal, the library, even for those ones that they subscribe to, that are paid for, we paid for you. The library, for instance, subscribe to some of these databases. So once you come to the library, we have already paid on your behalf. You can actually have access. In fact, what we discovered that from the researches we have carried out in the past, that most of our students don't even access these databases. They don't know how to use them. They don't even want to use them. But these databases are very rich. Immediately you type in your topic, even for your term paper, all related resources will show. And once you read them, as I told you, it will help you to write your term paper. Introductory part is there. Literature review is already there. It will form a good theoretical basis for you to do your work. So these databases are there. Then these free ones are also there. They are free journals that you can download the full text. It's not just the abstract now. The full texts are available to you. And you know, the advantages of these open educational resources is that they are so current, because anything that is online can easily be updated. Sometimes you can even see journals. Are we not in 2019? 2020 journals are already out. But it's only in all these online resources that you can see very current journals. So you have them. And also, I have them listed for you in your course material. And I hope that you will go and study them. If you are, for instance, in economics, there are some journals that are free. You have open access. Open access. I'm not going to start describing the different type of access, although there are some that are hybrid access, which a question like that can come out in your exam. Some can have hybrid access. What do I mean by hybrid access? It means that some articles are open. You can actually access them freely. And some, you are not open to you. Some articles, you have to pay, subscribe, before you can have access to those articles. So you discover that we categorize those journals as hybrid. But there are some that are free, completely free. They call them gold journals. Why? Because that's gold access. It means that they are completely, all the articles are free to you. Some have great access, which means after some time, the access will be free to you. Maybe after a period of maybe 6 months or so, the articles will now become free. So all those things, you have to go and study them, because questions like that can come up. I can ask you, what do you mean by gold access, green access? What do you mean by hybrid access? And then you should be able to tell me what it means. And then I may ask you, list some open educational resources under economics. You should be able to list. I have here, Journal of Agricultural and Applied Economics. We have economics, Real World Economics Review, theoretical. You may not know all of them, but you should be able to list 1 or 2 of them. You should be able to list 1 or 2. And then you have also, yes, okay. Somebody said he has a question here. Hello, Isaac Damilare has a question. I have a question that is not related to today's topic, ma. Please, I don't know what to do in the self-assessment exercise West page on portal. Please, ma, am I going to solve the self-assessment exercise in the course material in a document or any form of format? No, that self-assessment exercise is for you. Is to assess yourself, to assess your understanding, to help your comprehension. If I were you, I would do them, because I put them there to help to assess your comprehension. So that if there's something you have read, you have not comprehended well, you go back and reread, and it will help you in your examination. Is that clear? Now, let's go on. You have other educational resources that are free unto you. Then I want to look at a repository. I may ask you, what is a repository? You understand? Then you should be able to tell me. A repository is a collection of research outputs with the aim of making them available to the public. You know, there are some researches that from institutions that are sponsored by grants, by or institutional sponsored. At the end of the day, the university will gather all of these researches, and they will put them together into a repository. It can be called, there are different types of repository. You have institutional repository, and you have subject-based repository. But all the articles in a repository, they are free unto you too. So I also listed some kind of institutional repository and some subject-based repository for you, so that you will be able to look at them and know the one that will also be beneficial to you whenever you are looking at, for instance, you have the JOA and so many other types of repository. I'm going to be stopping here so far, and I will be entertaining any question. I don't know if we have any question so far from what I have I've lectured this afternoon related to what we have done the last time under the types of library and library services, different types of libraries and library services. And today we have looked at research technique. So if you have questions related to what we have done so far, please, you can ask me. I will help you to throw more light so that you can go back to study to make your examination easy. Thank you. Do we have questions?
Hello, ma.
Yes, my dear.
Please, I need more explanation. I need more explanation on the gold because I was offline.
Okay, the gold
Yes.
access. Okay, the gold access. Like as I told you, that access to content of journal vary. You can have the green access, you can have the hybrid access, you can have gold access. And I told you the gold one is actually the best. The gold access journals, I also listed them for you in your course materials. They will give you complete access to the content. The whole article, you will have complete access to them. They will not just show you abstract, and you will not get the full journal content, but you have free access, completely free. Exactly. That's it. So, we have only 10 minutes left. If there is any other questions, if there's, do we have?
Sorry, ma'am. There's a question you asked us on in our TMA about library. You gave us different kinds of JOSTA and then public med library and then other academic library. The only one science library, where the other one is an academic library. Science, it was like we were confused. It was mixed up. The JOSTA was for, there's one that you named for general library, while the remaining two were more of science-based library.
Yes, I saw one of that was in your asynchronous facilitation. I saw somebody who was loading all types of library, like medical library, like all those. Is that what you're asking me now? You call it general library. I never used the word general library to you people. I don't know where he saw the general library. You are missing it up. I don't want us to miss it up. So we have what we call general library services. If there are typographical error in my content, I just want to see whether there was a typographical error. I was wondering, where did you see general library here? Do you understand?
No.
Yes, if there is a typographical error, even as an intelligent student, if you are reading, you know that this is a typographical error. What we have, general library services, specialized library services. Public library is not the same thing as general library. Is that clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I told him, I said, my reply is that let there not be any confusion here. Don't confuse types of libraries with library services. They are different. Is that clear? So that is all I can say. If you have problem with general library services, you should let me know. General library services, they are the ones like lending services, reference services that every library will undertake. And then we have what we call the public library. Let me differentiate the two. The public library is a type of library. And we are what is they do? The public library, they give access to the general public. That doesn't make it, call it a general library. Why? Children can go to a public library. Adults can visit public library. Literates can visit library for illiterates can visit. It's just open to the public. It's in your community. Anybody can walk in there. Open to the public. That is what qualifies to be a public library. You know that your university library now, the library in Wusetu, for instance, not everybody will walk in there and say he wants to have access. But in a public library, anybody qualifies. The aged, the young can go in there. Do you understand? I don't want us to miss it up, please. Let us study our course materials vividly, and exam will be very easy. Any other question? Yeah. It's been interesting having you people. I wish to see more of you. You are still few. I don't know why only few of you are coming online.
It's hard to assess the portal. You know, most people are not really oriented to the portal. It took me time before I could log in, and the issue of network.
Okay. Anyway, we are uploading the video, so you can, other people can actually, they can listen to what we have just discussed and benefit from it. We have also apart from that, alongside with your course materials, we also have uploaded videos. You have no excuse. Once you read your course materials, listen to those videos, even while in the kitchen. Plus, what we are having now, I don't see why you should not do well in those courses.
By God's grace. This is the question I wanted to ask. In one of the TMAs, about academic search premier, JOSTA, and then PubMed and Medline and Science Direct. Now, PubMed or Medline and Science Direct, they are science-based oriented. Now, academic search and tech for general, it's like two courses where was it the way Pastor you asked us a tricky question so that you can see whether we understand?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I should ask you questions. Are you saying I should ask you questions?
No, ma, I said the question you asked in one of the TMAs. It was academic search premier.
Are you doing some of your colleagues have not done their TMA?
Okay, ma, I'm not talking.
I can't give you expo. No.
Okay, ma.
It's not part of it at all.
Okay,
no.
ma.
Yeah.
I've already done it, ma. Thank you. I enjoyed your last class, ma.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So we'll be meeting again next Tuesday, the same time.
Thank you, ma. Have a wonderful day.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.